Hi, it's that Lavally chick back again. Um, and today we're going to talk about Donald Glover as Spider-Man. It's been everywhere um, that he is going to be, I guess, he's going to be the villain. Um, he's definitely going to star in and produce a Spider-Man movie based on the villain Hypno-Hustler. So let's, of course, get to that article. Okay. So, Donald Glover to star and produce Spider-Man movie based on villain Hypno-Hustler. Fans previously wanted the actor to play Spidey in The Amazing Spider-Man. I know I heard of them wanting him to play Miles Morales. Donald Glover is finally getting a Spider-Man movie. It's just not quite what you think. Glover is attached to star and produce a feature set in Sony Pictures Spider-Man universe of Marvel Comics characters, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Miles Murphy, the son of actor and comedian Eddie Murphy, is on board to write the project, which has no title, but is said to revolve around the Hypno-Hustler, one of the more obscure Spider-Man villains. Created by Bill Mantlo, the writer who also created Rocket Raccoon, and artist Frank Springer, Hypno-Hustler was very much a product of the disco music scene when he first appeared in Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man number 24 in 1978. His real name was Antoine Delsoin, the leader of a band called the Mercy Killers, and used hypnosis technology in his instruments on his audience in order to rob them. Wow. Hypno-Hustler is not considered one of Spider-Man's top villains. In fact, he regularly shows up on worst supervillains lists, but sources say Glover sparked to the musical aspect of the character and the fact that he has less Marvel canon baggage, freeing him to greater interpretations. The project could be anything from a disco period piece to a reimagined modern hip hop version, or even a cyberpunk future play. Adding to the spark was Murphy's take, whose details are being kept below the bass clef. Glover's name has circled Spider-Man for years, with fans clamoring for him to portray Spidey, particularly in 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man. That didn't happen. Andrew Garfield landed the role as Peter Parker, but Glover did voice Spider-Man Miles Morales in the Disney series Ultimate Spider-Man in 2015. He also appeared in a very brief role in Tom Holland's Spider-Man Homecoming. A deleted scene from the movie pointed to him playing Miles Morales' uncle. Sony, which owns the film rights to the Spider-Man and related characters, has a whole slate of film based on not just villains, but also heroes that make up the Spider-Man family, with movies such as Venom and Morbius under its belt. The studio has Kraven the Hunter set for an October 6, 2023 release. Hero projects in development include Madam Web and Spider-Woman. Glover is repped by WME and Johnson Shapiro. Murphy is also repped by WME because, of course, he is. So, yeah. Okay. So he's getting his own movie. So he's getting his own movie, kind of like Venom. So he's getting his own movie like Venom and Morbius got their own movies. That sounds very interesting. Although I don't know what happened. I haven't watched Morbius, so I don't know what happened with Morbius. But I do know Venom became an anti-hero. So is Hypno-Hustler going to become an anti-hero? I don't understand the standalone villain projects. I just don't get it. I don't get the Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man movies. But to each his own. So next, that briefly there was there was an article. I did a video on article that the Hollywood Reporter did on DC Studios and what they possibly could be doing next and how they are scrapping Wonder Woman 3. And Patty Jenkins responded to that. And so I posted her response on my community tab. And of course, the Hollywood Reporter took her response and turned that into an article. But it's not, the article is pretty much all of her response. The only thing that is separate from her response is that gun backed up Jenkins tweeting, I can attest that all of Peter and my interactions with Jenkins were only pleasant and professional. So, she was basically setting the record straight about her involvement in what happened with Wonder Woman 3 and what was going forward with Rogue Squadron and where those two movies stand right now. So if you want to see that, go look at my community tab. It's just a tweet. Simple little tweet. Okay. Now moving on to water. Avatar. So apparently Avatar did not perform to expectations. So they are I don't know, I guess they're realizing that maybe everybody isn't as excited about Avatar as James Cameron is. I know I'm not. I could take it or leave it. Avatar: The Way of Water box office. Jury is out on whether sequel will ride the waves or drift. While the big budget template opened notably below tracking forecasts, no one in Hollywood is ready to write off James Cameron's long-awaited sequels. I think there's 4 or 5 sequels. That no one asked for. James Cameron is known for defying the odds. Over the past 25 years, he has proven his naysayers wrong twice. When Avatar and the decade earlier Titanic became the top grossing films of all time at the worldwide box office. Now comes along the long-awaited sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water, which opened notably behind tracking projections over the December 16th to 18th frame, collecting an estimated $134 million in domestic ticket sales. Heading into the weekend, various services and major exhibitors predicted the big budget sequel would open in the $150 million to $175 million range domestically and serve as a rescue operation after a brutal fall for moviegoing. Ooh. Overseas, the movie debuted to 307 million for a global start of 435 million. That's still decent. One of the best showings of the pandemic era. One downer, the movie opened to a muted 57 million in China, where a new COVID-19 crisis is unfolding. Well, that's to be expected, yes. The big question now, will the pricey 20th century Disney tentpole ride the waves and become the hero of the Christmas box office or drift into dangerous waters financially? Cameron himself has said The Way of Water will need to earn in the 2 billion range to be considered a success, although the break-even number is closer to 1 billion according to a film financier. Good goobly, they're making these movies for way too much money. Can James Cameron pull the rabbit out of the hat for the 3rd time? I wouldn't bet against him, says the source. The Way of the Water is one of the most expensive movies ever made, with an estimated production budget of more than 400 million and a marketing spend that brings the total price tag to at least 600 million, according to sources. It also runs 3 hours and 12 minutes, whereas the first Avatar ran 30 minutes shorter and cost less. In December 2009, Avatar opened to a relatively modest 77 million on its way to grossing 2.92 billion globally. That includes re-releases. It also marked a high for the advent of modern-day 3D. The Way of Water has seen 3D viewing resurgent after it fell out of favor in the years since 2009. Roughly 57% of ticket buyers in North America paid an upcharge to see it in Cameron's preferred format, and 66% of international audiences did so. The film has been a boon for premium cinema overall, whether IMAX or the myriad other large format brands offered by the major circuits. But while the majority of ticket buyers in the US opted to pay more money for an upgraded experience, there was only so much capacity. Whether this proves exclusionary for more budget conscious moviegoers remains to be seen. So, okay. Okay, so it came in, Avatar, The Way of Water came in a little bit under expectations, but it made a lot of money overseas, made less than they wanted in China. But of course, China's going through another COVID crisis. But so that's to be expected. The biggest thing is James Cameron expecting this to make $2 billion in order for it to be considered a success. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money in this economy. With everything that's going on right now, this movie has to have great word of mouth appeal to make it to $2 billion. It has to really catch on. People have to really talk about how great this movie is, how wonderful it is, and you know, it's gonna have to stay in theaters forever, like Titanic did, because Titanic earned $1 billion because it stayed in the theaters forever. I can't remember how long Avatar was in the theaters, but I remember Titanic being in the theaters in the fall and then in the following winter, like 2 seasons. I watched that movie. But yeah, so that's a lot to hope for. It's a lot to hope for. but we shall see. We shall see if he pulls out the hat trick, and if if he beats himself yet again, and Avatar makes $2 billion. We shall see. I don't understand why it cost 400 million when he had already made the technology to make this movie with the first Avatar, but I don't know. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with that movie. I don't know why it cost $400 million to make that movie. But finally, Willow. So I watched the latest episode of Willow. It's episode 4, and it was another stay in place episode. But even though it stayed in place, it had a lot of going on. It wasn't, even though it stayed in place, it didn't come to a complete stop and a complete halt. There was a lot of action going on. They had to save the prince. I can't remember his name. The same thing happened to him as what happened to, the knight. Oh boy, he got pierced with one of those things, and he was going to be possessed. And I don't know who these people are. The witch was going to be able to possess him or control him, or he was going to be possessed by demons. I don't know, but basically he wasn't going to be himself anymore. So they find themselves in Bathmorda's castle that had been abandoned after they, I guess, destroyed her or, beat her in the movie Willow. So they figured that Willow figures there's got to be a spell that could expel the demon or whatnot from his body. So him and Elora Danan work on that throughout the episode, and everybody goes on their own little adventures in the castle, and this castle is filled with ghosts and sort of, I don't know, like images and things from the past. Like everybody sort of sees and hears something. The girl who's a knight, she straight up has a fight with somebody. I don't know who that is, but she straight up was able to have a fight with somebody. Borman had somebody calling out his name. The girl, the princess, ends up hearing somebody that was obviously talking to her grandmother when her grandmother was a young woman, I guess. And then all of a sudden, like, she was looking at some tapestries that had a picture of her grandmother on it, because Bathmorda is her grandmother. And then that went up in flames. And of course, all she has in her head is what her mother told her before they left, was like, the blood of Bathmorda survived in me, you, and Arik, whatever that boy's name is. So eventually, what happens? Everybody goes on their little adventure in the castle until all of a sudden Elora Danan finds herself in the North Tower, and the demon inside the prince sort of captures her there and is going to do the same spell or ritual on her that Bathmorda was going to do on her when she was a little girl. So, Willow comes in, then everyone else comes in to try and basically stops him. And they have to make the decision. Okay, he's basically, possessed with this thing. Do we kill him or do we still try to save him? And the princess, who's been saying all this time, oh, we should kill him, we should kill him, we should kill him. Now they're getting ready to kill him. And she goes, no, we should save him. Laura Dan, you could do it. Finally tells her that she made made the bush that, she had been trying to make but never saw come to fruition because she was kidnapped and nobody else saw it but the princess, and the princess told nobody else because she was just a jealous little chick. So she kept it to herself. So finally she tells Lord Dannon that, you made that bush happen. So you got it within you. You got the magic, you got the power, you can do this. So Lord Dannon purges the spirit out of him. And as she's doing it, she sees a memory of his where he as a young kid is possessed by yet another demon and kills his older brother. I'm like, this boy is he's just poor thing, always being possessed by something. He just has no luck whatsoever. But that's sad. But so in the end, she saves him. He's happy. And they're all walking and she's giving him mad side-eye because she saw his memory, but she didn't tell him. So they're going along on their business. Everybody's happy except for Laura Dana because she done seen what this boy done did. And then they end showing Eric, whatever that boy's name is, Eric, get out of his, he wakes up and his cell door is open and he walks outside and the sun is shining and there's ash, falling everywhere and it's kind of deserted. And I don't know where he is. I don't know if where he is supposed to be a special location that we're supposed to be familiar with because of the movie. I don't know, but they just end on him looking out on this road that has all these statues and some of them destroyed, some of them fallen over, and it's just these destroyed statues and just ash everywhere and not a soul around but him. It looks very post-apocalyptic. So that will be, I don't know what's going to happen. I hopefully he runs into the rest of the crew eventually because they came all that way to get him. I would hate for them to miss him and take that girl straight to the people that she needs to be avoiding. So, but I like the show. It's keeping my interest. I want to know what's going to happen next. I want to know what's going to happen between that girl and the prince, between the Lord Dannon and the prince. Her giving him side eye. I want to know what's going to happen next week. I want to know what's going to happen with Eric, with little crew. So very interested in finding out what happens. So that is all for today. I will have another video up this Friday, another Christmassy theme video. And the And then the following week, well, it'll be the day after Christmas. So the following Monday, I will be live streaming because it's the day after Christmas. And since I won't be at work, I'll be able to start on time. You'll have to worry about me getting off work first. So see you next week.